www.bbc.co.uk.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very happy new year, and welcome to the Champions League pool here on Free Sports. Stephen Jameson and Simon Webb with you once again in the year 2021, though, for the very first time. Week number 3 of our Champions League, and Simon, we really loved this tournament in the run-up to Christmas. We've got a couple of tasters, if you were, but it really feels like we're now getting into the main course of this tournament now.
Absolutely, yeah. First 2 weeks were fantastic. We saw some great players and some great performances, but now we're on to week 3, where the sort of tournament really is starting to hot up, and what a way to start this year.
And absolutely. Let's take a look at our 4 players in action tonight. One of these players will be advancing through to the quarterfinals. That is how it works. 4 players, they will all play each other tonight in a round robin. The player who finishes top of the pile will qualify through to the quarterfinals. Everyone else is eliminated. Should we have a tie, we'll have a 6-red shootout, but more on that if we get to it. The headliner, as it were, Simon, Phil Harrison there, a former world champion, but I think me and you both agree on this. He's going to find it tough tonight. This is a tough group.
Yeah, a really tough group. I think the bookies see Phil Harrison as the favourite, and I guess that's kind of fair, but I thought it'd be pretty even with Rob Chilton, who's a fantastic player in his own right, but with Sam Bircher and Zach Shepherd, you've got 2 great young players that have got a big future in the game.
Yeah, almost time to get going here. We're in Newcastle under Lyme at the Players' Lounge for week number 3, and we can't wait to get going. So first match is ready and raring to get underway, and we talked about this tournament a lot, Simon. It's a different format to what we're used to here on Free Sports, and we're really excited to showcase a little bit more of that.
Yeah, so far, I mean, the first couple of episodes or first couple of weeks were absolutely brilliant, and we got to see some great pool, and with a new rule set, it really showcased that, and I think we're going to see more of it tonight. It really is a fast-flowing format that we have, and we'll sort of bring you the most parts or the key parts as we're going along.
So it's Rob who has the first break, and it is a very, very successful one. He's started with a little bit of aggression there. Rob Chilton started as he means to go on, and he'll have the first visit to the table here. It's a shootout format, which you've been very used to seeing on Free Sports over the last sort of 6 months or so. So we're playing on a 20-minute match clock, race to 4, whichever one comes first. 0 on the clock or 4 frames on the board for one of our 2 players. We'll take the result at that stage. The result secures 2 points. If it's a draw, it's a point apiece. That shot clock will be prominent throughout. You can see the other players have no excuse for not quite being on time, but it will keep them honest. 20 seconds a shot.
And 20 seconds a shot now feels a reasonable amount of time for these players, or I guess it does from the commentary box anyway, maybe not for the players out there, but I know that when we first saw 30 seconds it felt very quick, but it's sort of, now we've seen 15, now we're at 20. I think it's enough time when players get to see the clock at all times. Good first opportunity here for Rob Chilton. It was an excellent opening break. Really, what a way to start your shootout campaign. Really opened them well. He's got to negotiate a tricky cue ball here on the last couple of shots. The reds are kind of in the way. I think he wants to play the one on the bottom cushion next, but he's probably wanted an extra roll down the table, so possibly looking at other options.
Time extension.
He called his extension early on. It's not necessarily a terrible idea. He's in a bit of a pickle here and needs to get this right to set the tempo for tonight. Oh, is he going to sneak it in off that yellow? No. So turns the table over to Sam Bircher, who does come into this match as the underdog. Probably comes into this set of 4 as the underdog, really, but a very useful player in his own right.
Yeah, just looking at that chance from Rob, and I'm really surprised. I know he didn't finish perfectly on the ball on the bottom cushion. I'm just surprised he didn't take it on, because the way he went was much higher tariff than taking the one on the bottom cushion first, but he obviously saw the pattern that way. Obvious problem here for Sam Bircher is the red on the break line towards the top left-hand corner pocket. He's finished dead straight on this one here, so I'm not sure he's got the angle he wanted to be able to land on the red at the top of the table. So leaving it to the last ball is never an ideal situation either.
He's just having a look there, I think, to see if he can play it off the yellow, potentially, but let's see what he comes up with.
There's not a lot of room for this shot that he's looked at, and he's run too far to be able to play it anyway, so forced into a double now, which may have been the better of the 2 options.
Well, this for a shot at the 8 ball. And didn't get his angles right. So Rob Chilton survives, really. You get the sense tonight for Sam that if he is to spring an upset, needs to take those chances.
Yeah, there's one problem ball on the table. You know, he didn't get to develop it early, didn't get to work it out early, and left it till the end. And it always looked like a visit that was going to get away from him. But if they are going to be the chances that can make or break a match or make or break his night, although Rob hasn't landed nicely on this yellow once again.
He's landed actually in almost a mirror image to where he landed before and refused to take it on. Doesn't have a choice now, of course.
Yeah, if anything, this is harder. Oh, brilliant.
Some pot, that, isn't it?
But when you see that, it surprises you that he didn't take it on previously.
Absolutely perfect position for the 8 ball as well. Easily enough for Rob Chilton, who takes the first frame of this one. Still with just a tad over 15 minutes to play in our first match. Here's his opponent tonight, Sam Bircher, the youngest of our 4 players, just 24 years of age. Leicester Tour winner, Staffordshire Open winner in this neck of the woods, and to win any tournament in Staffordshire tends to be a pretty good indicator that you've got a little bit about you. A lot of good players in this neck of the woods, and twice a UK Tour runner-up as well from Wolverhampton. Yeah,
very decent record for a 24-year-old. And have some inside knowledge on the nickname. It's because he's double jointed, hence the nickname Fingers. Monster break, got the black in motion nicely, but another massive break. Both players have hit their first breaks really, really well.
Yeah, another absolute hand cannon this, wasn't it? Goodness me. And a reminder, shootout rules are in operation, so if the black ball does go in off the break, it would have won Sam the frame. Put the black and the white, you'll lose it. Golden break and a golden duck, both in operation tonight.
Well, I was just about to mention that the 2 yellows nearest the right centre pocket could be a problem, but he hasn't landed on his next ball at all. I don't think he can see the yellow at the top of the table, can't do anything with the yellow he's nearest to. He could just get through. Still not got hold of the cue ball though. Not on the yellow to the bottom left. Can't see the one nearest the right centre.
Yeah, I think this is a problem now.
I think he's now looking at safety options. Can he leave the cue ball somewhere on the bottom cushion?
Extension called.
He scored his extension, so an extra 20 seconds just to think about this. He's going to play it pretty early. Wanted to leave that white behind the yellow, hasn't managed to do it, and this is a decent opportunity now for Rob.
We saw a little bit of this last time out when the players have used their extension very early in the frame. I think we thought at the start of the tournament we would see players leaving it towards the end, but so far we've seen players very keen to use their extension as early as possible. They only get 1 per match. Both players used it in the first 2 frames.
I think there's an element, isn't there, of just wanting to be as comfortable as possible, especially in the first frame of this section of the tournament, I guess.
I think for me it just highlights how important every single shot and every single frame is. That, okay, it's a race to 4 frames, but with it being a 20-minute set clock, you know, a 1 frame swing either way could make all the difference. So you really want to make sure you get that shot right. It could win or lose a frame. Camera angle here, you can clearly see the red goes into the right centre pocket. So the one positional shot that Rob needs to get right is when he goes up the table for the red by the black, and he looks to have landed perfectly on it. I say perfectly. If anything, a fraction straight. Might have to force this to get the cue ball somewhere near the break line. Yeah, really had to force it. But now he's in a position where it's just a stop shot. That's a sign of how responsive the table is. He wanted the white to stop dead, and he's brought it back 2-3 inches, meaning he can't get perfectly on the black. Shouldn't cause him a problem.
2-0. And Rob Chilton makes no mistake. Great start for Bobby, who's off and running in week 3 of the Champions League pool. He's got a good record, as Rob Chilton. 10 professional wins over in the IPA, which is some record.
Yeah, it's an incredible record, really. You know, to win 10 titles on the IPA. That was in the World Rules era, but you know, it's an absolute. So he's been off the IPA for a few years now, but it's an absolutely incredible record, and he was the IPA #1 player for a period of time as well. So he really is possibly a. You know, it's been a few years since he was on that tour. Maybe it's been a fraction underrated, but you know, that's why I said right at the top of the show, I thought, you know, it wouldn't have surprised me if the bookies had him as a slight favourite for tonight's group, even with Phil Harrison in it.
He's annoyed there, though.
Foul.
Screws straight in off the break.
Time running.
So Sam Bircher, cue ball in hand behind the break line here, and gets first crack at this table. Remember, international rules tonight, and we'll sort of mention them as they come up. He has got an exception here there, Sam, so he has to be a little bit careful, and that's not come out how he wanted it. If he's stuck behind this yellow, he could be in a bit of a pickle. But going in off the break, now no longer the killer blow to a frame. I think it's fair to say in the rules that we were playing earlier in the year 2020 in black ball.
Yeah, just a cue ball in hand anywhere behind the break line. There's no shot on a visit or anything like that, which means you have to be creative with that first shot. If you've got a problem ball, you want to leave yourself an angle to try and open up that problem ball, which Sam did there, but he was stretching and ran out of time, and was a little bit unfortunate not to be able to see the yellow to the left centre, and that's why he wasn't able to continue. I know it's early in this match and this night, but Sam hasn't quite settled with the clock, I don't think. Been rushed on a couple of shots already.
Yeah, and it's the sort of shot clock 101 that you should never be rushed, especially when you've got the cue ball in hand. That's very much on your own time.
Yes, definitely. Don't think we'll see the same problems for Rob, although I wouldn't have expected him to play many times, if ever, with a 20-second shot clock. He is known as a fairly quick player, so I don't see the shot clock being a big issue for him tonight.
That's about as good a hit as Bircher could have wished for there, really. Rob will want to attack these reds as soon as possible, because yellows at the moment aren't a terrible lie. You can't risk turning the table over to something easy. But at the moment, it's not got a really obvious pattern.
Speculative effort, really. As you say, if he wanted to go and wanted to be aggressive, but wanted to make sure he developed his hardest ball, which he did. If it went into the right centre pocket, then he would have gone for the finish. Now it hasn't. He knows that it's not a guaranteed chance for Sam by any means. although that helps.
Oh, that's a lovely shot.
That's a brilliant shot, isn't it?
He got his double in the first frame quite badly wrong, but that one was judged to perfection. It was a much harder shot actually as well. Really nicely played by Sam. It's a good chance now.
You're looking for a skill shot. I think he'd rather try and play it off one of the two yellows near the black. The yellow nearest the red over the pocket's quite close to it, making the skill shot from that ball slightly harder. So, yeah, he has tried to go into it that time. He may have nudged the yellow, actually, so that it now slides by the red, and holding up the hand, I think, tells us that he absolutely has. So he's turned this into a great opportunity.
Well, sometimes you need a little bit of luck just to get your feet under the table, so to speak, and I think Sam's had a little touch there. He has.
Well, that's a loose one, though.
Yeah, leaving the cue ball where he has is sloppy.
Yeah, strange shot, though. It really was. He was never moving the white very far, so strange to see it not better on this black.
Some pot, though, that. And that is a great metal tester. And Sam Bircher passes with flying colours. 2-1.
In all honesty, I thought when Rob missed his double, I didn't think it was going to cost him the frame. I felt that was a tough challenge to clear those up, but he's done that very quickly and in fine style, and very much still in this match.
Well, this is what we've had already. Group 1 and Group 2 came in the first couple of weeks of December. Josh Kane and Aaron Davies are the two that will make it through to the quarterfinals. We'll have a quarterfinalist out of this four. And how about next week's lineup? The shootout king, Jordan Shepherd, is in action. He's got Brian Halcrow and John Rowe for company, as well as one Neil Raybone. I think we've finally got a group of death.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Jordan Shepherd, absolutely one of the stars of the show in shootout pool. But Neil Raybone is has been a #1 player on the IPA tour, and he is been added to the lineup. There was a dropout, and he's taken the space as a reserve. So what well, change of fortune in that group for sure. That really is a group of death.
Time running.
Yeah, can't wait to watch Neil versus Jordan in particular over 20 minutes with potential place in the quarters of this tournament on the line. It's going to be an absolute cracker, that one. Meanwhile, back to this one. Salmon off the break, and that's a disappointing one for him. Particularly, it was a good chance to get himself back level, having turned over the last frame. With the break in hand, he broke really well first time round. Confidence is up. And he goes straight in to the middle pocket.
Both players have done it now, haven't they? The first two breaks were brilliant. The second two breaks were both potted the cue ball. You are right, though. It's the timing, isn't it, sometimes, for Sam to do that, having just made that clearance in the previous frame. Really good opportunity to get back to 2-2. And he's given it the other way around. Oh, that's very fortunate.
That's a little touch.
Well, he didn't. I'm just looking at his body language. He didn't hold up his hand. So maybe he played the cannon in the way he did. I thought he was just trying to cut the yellow into the bottom right-hand corner and got lucky to make the one in the middle. But I think he may have had half a thought of making that shot, just the way he reacted to it.
Oh, I tell you what, I think he's all right as well on the shot clock.
Fine. Well, he doesn't. He was walking back to his chair there.
As long as you hit the white before the buzzer, you're okay. This is the shot that got him into that position.
Oh no, definitely very much looking at the replay of that. Definitely very fortunate. Didn't go into the middle pocket the way I thought it did. So very much a touch of fortune, but it hasn't helped him all the way through, because I don't think he's on this yellow now. So that hasn't won him the frame. One good safety shot here from Sam Bircher, and he becomes favourite to win this frame. At this level of pool, if you miss your last ball or you don't clear up once you get to your last ball, you do become second favourite for the frame.
Well, it's percentage pool, and there is absolutely a lot of merit in playing the shot that Sam's just played, but I always feel that it's a risk. Has to be an element of risk involved when Rob Chilton, if he hits this yellow, has a very good chance of potting it. A very good chance. It was close.
It was a great effort because the natural angle wasn't there. He had to play that with a lot of side. And you can see the pace he played it at to allow the side to take and try and make that with some control.
You can see the little stomp of annoyance as well as he sat back down in his chair. He knew how close that was. Finest of margins.
This time he's going to take the finish on because that red now goes past. Oh, he's not going to take the finish on.
Oh, that's a gamble.
Yeah, and I think he's even left the edge. The reason I said he'd take it on was because that red now passes the yellow to the bottom right-hand corner. So you weren't going to gain an advantage by playing safe, and he's actually given it away.
Well, has Rob then gone and snooked himself in the black? Yeah, it's been that sort of frame, hasn't it? Both players are really, really struggling to get to grips with it. This will be some finish. Has Bobby got a Bobby Dazzler in store for us very nearly?
I think what we can say early on in this is do not snooker Rob Chilton. He looks in the mood to make pots out of snookers. That's two great efforts, isn't it? Okay, the black's gone to a cushion, but there's no more safety in this frame. This is time to go for the finish. Just want to make sure you leave yourself a nice angle on your last ball. There isn't an obvious ball to land to, guarantee getting perfect position onto the black. That's not perfect. It's not the angle he wanted. Come back. Good few inches too far.
Sending the cue ball around the houses here. You can't get particularly close. This is missable.
Difference between landing the right side of that last ball and not is this pot.
For all square with 2.5 minutes to play. Oh, he's got some bottle as Sam Bircher. Make no mistake about it. 2.5 minutes remaining, and it's all square versus Rob Chilton. And his 2 8-ball pots have shown some serious nerve.
Yeah, he cued that beautifully. He really did. Got through the ball. Absolutely fantastic. And yeah, all square.
Well, we mentioned we've got a cracker next week. They keep on coming once we get into the second half of the draw. We've got Sean Story, Chris Day, Tom Price and Eddie Barker coming up in the third week of January, and then Craig Lakin, Tony Blunt, Carl Sutton, Dave McNamara, another excellent lineup. And then how about Chris Melling, Hitan Patel, Mike King, Joe Edgar, and then Dylan Leary, Mick Hill, Shane Thompson, Liam White. It's some lineup in this tournament.
It really is, and that last lineup, that is possibly, even with Neil being added to next week's group, that probably is still the toughest night of the first round. Really looking forward to seeing Chris Melling and Mick Hill in particular getting their tournaments underway. We've had balls potted off the break, we've had the cue ball potted off the break, now we've had a first dry break of the night. Not the best little flick on that red. He wanted to go by the red to be able to take the red to the same pocket as the one he just potted. Not on the red now, and 3 reds in the top half of the table are also awkward, so these yellows have actually opened up really nicely. Needs to be careful here, having got back all square. Doesn't want to give away an opportunity. See what he was thinking, trying to get the 8-ball with those 2 yellows, make the 8-ball really tricky.
Will Rob Chilton get that far? He's got less than 90 seconds with which to play. Should be enough time. Oh, now then, not now.
Now he wants to use the full clock and make sure that he doesn't give Sam Bircher time. Well, it's a good hit, but he's given Sam Bircher a minute. And those couple of shots he's played, it's just opened up the reds enough to make this a chance.
Oh, but He might just have opened the door back up. He had to make that first ball. Now there's enough time on the clock. This is doable for Rob, and you can tell he smells it. Stalking round the table.
Foul.
A match which neither player wants to win.
Anywhere on the table.
I think the clock potentially going to beat them both now. Well, it's going to be tight. 10 seconds. That hesitation may have cost him, because he's only going to be short by about 5 seconds here.
Yeah, and he knew it.
Frame.
It's a cracking match. Drama all the way to the end, but ultimately both players will pick up a solitary point at the end of a fantastic encounter, really. Started off really well, then faded away in terms of the quality, Simon, but the drama at the end was what we love to see.
I'm not sure how I meant to sum that match up, actually. I thought Rob was going to sort of run away with it and take it fairly comfortably. Sam got himself back in the match, and then you felt like neither player really knew quite how to do it with such a tight time frame. But yeah, excellent drama only for us.
Well, fantastic stuff. A point apiece then for our first two players. Our next two, therefore, have the chance to go top of the group when we come back. It's Phil Harrison against Zach Shepherd. Do stay with us.
This programme is brought to you by vinny.co.uk.